What's going on, guys? Have issue 5 here, and we have Casey Jones on the cover. However, Casey's not the main focal point on this one. It's actually District Attorney Hale, or Harmonious Hale. Now, I don't know if I perfectly said that name, so I'm just going to continue to say Hale. And even then, it could be Haley. But we're going to just get on into it. So, Return to New York, Part 5, The Law of the Foot. So, we have Hale. He's over here. Got a big crowd of, looks like a lot of reporters and things like that around him. They're trying to ask him about, why he's got, the police or, the Foot Clan. Why that they're seem to be attacking that. Now, he's attacking mutants, rather. Now, he says he's not going to take any questions at all and tells the Foot to go ahead and disperse the crowd. And so they go ahead and do that. And we're getting some inner monologue about how he grew up. And, he's like, well, most people would think I'm bullied. Well, fact of the matter is I was pretty much always ignored. He kind of yearns for having been bullied or something like that. Because then he's like, well, then people would have at least noticed me. And so, continuing with some inner monologue while we watch the Foot Clan get rid of the crowd, throw some sort of gas out into the crowd. And he's talking about how when he got into law school, he was basically just, he was a legend, as he kind of self-describes himself. And that he was so persuasive, he even got a judge to stand up and clap and stuff like that. As well as, convincing jurors to kind of just lash out at those on trial. But he says that didn't really help him with his peers and his bosses and stuff like that. So here we see he got the district attorney job and decided to go ahead and fire everybody. Said that the only people that were in his corner was his parents. And they were just so proud of him. They saved all the newspaper clippings and stuff like that in typical fashion. But they ended up getting murdered, and he found out that those two were murdered by a mutant. And so he starts drowning out his sorrows at a bar, and he's just going on and on about how mutants are the worst and things like that. The bartender starts noticing two people approaching, or at least two figures approaching. And wouldn't you know it, we got Bebop and Rocksteady not taking too kindly to the words being spoken, but they're actually sent there on a mission. Their mission was to bring Hale in front of Karari, leader of the Foot Clan, since Shredder is no more. She introduces herself, but he's like, I know exactly who you are. And she says, okay, so we'll just skip the formal introduction and tell you all about it. She offers him a gift of sorts. This gift is the mutant responsible for murdering his family. And she hands him a mace. Doesn't hand him the mace. She shows him the mace, places it in between the two, unshackles the mutant, and there you see they're both about equally distant from the mace, and tells them both to go. Now this little guy, he scurries on over there. He's getting close, and Karari, she throws a star at him, stops him, allows Hale to get the mace, and he's ready to exact revenge here, right? He's got it. He's like, die! And Karari stops him. There we go. And says, yeah. Hale says, if you wouldn't have stopped me, I was going to go through. And she's like, well, so will everybody else. Getting it recorded right there. So here we go. Blackmail. Okay, so what's the catch? What does she want him to do? Run for district attorney. So we obviously see that he's become the district attorney, and we're back with the crowd being dispersed. We see a pretty familiar figure there. And yeah, Casey Jones has now entered. He's starting to beat up on some Foot Clan. And, you know, he's going out there. He's kicking ass. Look at him. Look at him go. Apparently it took more than a dozen people to bring him down, but yeah, they eventually got Casey. Bring him before Hale. And Casey's like, I'm not here to exchange words with you. You're just a lapdog. Where's Karari? And Hale's like, well, she finds herself indisposed at the time, and we catch a quick glimpse as to what she's up to. Not 100% certain on that. Perhaps those who are more familiar and more caught up from the previous series might know what this is, but for right now, it remains a mystery to me. My initial thought is it might have something to do with Shredder, because there is a Shredder series coming out. So that's my thoughts at the moment on that one. And by the way, you know, I just want to say, you know, art looks pretty good. We are going to catch a quick glimpse of the turtles here in a second, and I do think that they look good. So far, so good. And even though we are more focused on an attorney, there seems to be a pretty decent amount of action. Again, going back to issue 3, how disappointing that was that we are focused on Leonardo and don't get a whole lot of action. But here we are focused on an attorney and get a fairly decent amount of action. I didn't expect it. Could have, you know, just been all, you know, shady stuff, you know, all of his shady dealings and no real action being taken, and I'd have been completely fine with this. But the fact that we're getting a little bit of action is pretty awesome. So, you know, Casey and Hale have a back and forth, both just like, you know, you're slime, you're terrible person, that kind of stuff. And Hale offers Casey an opportunity the same that he was given with that mutant, where he says, you know, the Foot, they're not going to do anything. It's just you, me, and a mace. And if you were to do anything to me, no charges will be pressed against you. We're just going to see what kind of man you are. And so Hale orders the Foot Clan to go ahead and let Casey go, and Casey makes a break for the mace. And Hale starts to reflect on his parents, and just wondering what kind of a person, if they were still alive, what kind of person they would, you know, think of him. And here we get shots of the turtles themselves, and yeah, they look pretty good. Still not a huge fan of the do-rag, but you know, that's besides the fact now. And while he's reflecting, this is him letting us know that he was actually ordered to keep them occupied by Karari. That's really about it, and that they are certainly not welcome in his city. He says that for them it would be a city of death. So quite hostile towards the turtles. He's reflecting on what he had to do to actually get his job, and that was to kill his competitor. And here we see what happened to that mutant that killed his parents, all right? So he was brought out to a cemetery, and he got his head bashed in by Hale. And so Casey has earned, well, he didn't earn it, but he got the mace. And he's just like, okay, I got it. Let's not do any of this. And Hale says, you know, I know that my parents would be pretty damn proud of their boy. And as he's reaching for some, what is he reaching for? A pistol in which to shoot Casey with. And that is where the book ends. We get a to be continued. Now, I certainly don't think, and I know by this point, they did not kill Casey. I was like, ooh, shit. But I'm like, no. Casey's too much of a fan favorite to just be killed off in his like first appearance in the series. Now, it would have been foolish to do. I guess it's not impossible, but yeah, not exactly the greatest thing. Not a whole lot of criticism from me. Just getting more knowledge as to who this new villain Hale is, and what he is, what he is willing to do, what he's capable of doing. He's got no love for the mutants, and we see why. Being that is the only people that cared about him at all were taken at the hands of a mutant. Okay, a little harsh to condemn an entire group, but fine. And so we are just getting like his inner thoughts. So I have no real issues. Like I said, for something like this, it didn't really need to be action-packed, especially when you're dealing with a political figure. You can work your way around it and still be intriguing without stuffing it full of action. Now, I do like that we are dealing with a political figure, and there's not an immediate tie to somebody in real life. I appreciate that. The less I know about the writer's personal politics, the better. I don't care. So the fact that I don't know is a good thing. I really like that. So yeah, this one definitely wouldn't say it's the strongest book, but it's certainly interesting. I've read it multiple times, and each time I'm like not dozing off or anything like that. So, yeah, it's definitely worth a read, especially, getting a little Casey Jones action in there. And, yeah, we'll see what has become of Casey now that I've already spoiled that he is not dead. We'll see what has become of him in the next issue. So, that is all I have for today, guys. So until next time, take care and God bless.